Hello, everybody. Another family Friday night quiz. We've got 5 rounds: humanities with Mr. Reynolds, general knowledge, a number round from Mrs. Cross, sport, and the picture round. So we're going to hand over to Mr. Reynolds now. He's going to read out his questions, and we'll come back to recap and look at some answers. Best of luck.
Hello, welcome to the humanities round of this week's quiz. I know previously there's been rounds on geography and history. This week I thought I'd mix it up, so alternate questions on geography, alternate questions of history. See how you get on. Good luck. You should know most of them, maybe not, but discuss it with your members of your group or your household and see how well you can get on. Okay, so question 1. What is the geographical term for a bend in a river? What is the geographical term for the bend in a river? Because there's no multiple choice answers this week. I'm just going to rely on your knowledge that I know a lot of you have. You're experts at geography and at history as well. Okay, question 2. Who was Henry VIII's third wife? Who was Henry VIII's third wife? This is definitely one for any Year 8 pupils. They should know this. To give you a clue for those of you who may be struggling a little bit, she was the wife who gave him what he wanted the most, a son in Edward VI. So she gave him the son that he'd always wanted. Who was that third wife? Question 3. Which European country shares the most borders with its neighbours? Okay, which European country shares the most borders with its neighbours? Question 4. In what year was the RAF founded? Again, one that Year 8 should know, really. In what year was the RAF founded? Question 5. Which European country's flag could be described as being light blue with a yellow horizontal and vertical cross within it? Okay, a light blue flag that has a yellow horizontal and vertical flag on it. Question 6. Who was Queen during the golden age of Shakespeare? Who was the Queen of England during the golden age of Shakespeare? Okay, back to geography. Question 7. Which country has the smallest population? Which country across the world has the smallest population? Question 8. How long was the 100 Years' War? That's right. How long was the 100 Years' War? Question 9. What is the capital city of Croatia? Just say that again. What is the capital city of Croatia? Okay, and question 10 involves a bit of my personal history, but it also links to geography as well. I really like this question. So as a child, when I was deciding who I supported as a football team, I chose the club that was geographically closest to where I'm from, which is Hereford, which is in the West Midlands. So I ended up choosing Aston Villa. I definitely don't regret that decision. If you were employing that same logic by living in Frome today, which Premier League club would you be choosing to support? Okay, so in other words, I'm asking you, which Premier League club is geographically closest to the town of Frome? Have a think about that. There's a few possibilities. Think about it and see if you can work out the answer. Which Premier League club is geographically closest to Frome today? Okay, thank you for hopefully putting an answer down for all those questions. Good luck, and we'll see how you got on with the answer slide in a bit.
Thank you very much, Mr. Reynolds. So let's go through the questions one more time. What is the geographical term for a bend in a river? Who was Henry VIII's third wife? Which European country shares most borders with its neighbours? In which year was the RAF founded? Which European country's flag can be described as light blue with a yellow horizontal and vertical cross on it? These are challenging questions, Mr. Reynolds. Who was the Queen of England during the golden age of Shakespeare? Which country has the smallest population? How long was the 100 Years' War for? What is the capital of Croatia? And the last question, which I absolutely love. When choosing who to support as a football team as a child, Mr. Reynolds chose the team geographically closest to him in Hereford, which was Villa. Never mind. Who would it be for him today? Pause if you need to. Go through the answers. Try and remember. It's the idea of retrieval, long-term memory. You bring it to your working memory so you can use it effectively. So some answers. Meanders bending the river. Jane Seymour. Germany. 1918. Sweden. The description of the flag. Elizabeth I was the queen during the golden age, the monarch of Shakespearean times. Vatican City has the smallest population. The 100 Years' Wars went on for 116 years. Pick the bones out of that. Zagreb is the capital of Croatia, and Bournemouth would be, AFC Bournemouth actually, would be your closest Premier League team. Well done. Definitely 10 out of 10 there, Mr. Reynolds, I think. So, moving on to round 2, general knowledge. Question 1, what sort of creature is a dingo? So, what sort of creature is a dingo? Number 2, who was the first man to walk on the moon? Gene Cernan was the last man to walk on the moon. It's a fantastic documentary on Netflix about him. Really good. Worth a watch. What are the names of Harry Potter's parents? So what are the names of Harry Potter's parents? Number 4, what is a baby kangaroo called? So think about that thing you've got to do in Joe Wicks, when you've got to bounce around with your kangaroo hops. Think about what he goes on about. How many strings does a violin have? Do you know these? Cast around, ask your family. The idea of retrieval and recall to support your long-term memory. Number 6, what is the name of Doctor Who's time machine called? My brother loves Doctor Who. I've never seen it. Unusual. What is the name given to an animal that only eats plants? My nephew loves stuff like this. He's 6. Goes on to me about knowing these terms, the correct terms. Love. Number 8, what kind of food is a pawpaw? Number 9, in The Jungle Book by Rudyard Kipling, what kind of animal is Baloo? So in that book, what kind of animal is Baloo? And number 10, what is a baby goat called? If you go through Cheddar Gorge, there's this huge side crag with all these goats just sort of precariously living on the side of this part of the gorge. Beautiful, amazing, and very surreal to see. But what do they call their babies? Goats. Remember, pause if you need to, have a chat, have a discussion, and we'll come back with some answers. Right, some answers. It's a wild dog. I thought it was a cat originally. Neil Armstrong was the first man to walk on the moon. Buzz Aldrin was the second. Michael Collins stayed inside the capsule and orbited the moon to allow those two to go on the moon. Fantastic. James and Lily Potter. A joey is what you call a baby kangaroo. 4 is the answer to number 5. The TARDIS, which I think is an acronym for something, but I don't know what. If you know, let me know. I'm a herbivore. Eats everything. A plant, sorry. Fruit. A pawpaw is a fruit. Baloo was a bear, and baby goats are called a kid. They're all quite challenging, those today, I thought. We're going to a very challenging round from Mrs. Cross. Brilliant. It's numbers. mathematicians amongst us are rejoicing. Let's go for it. And this is going to really test your retrieval, really test that long-term memory. So, number one, how many months are there in 12 years? How many months are there in 12 years? Number two, an equilateral triangle has two sides of 4 centimeters each. How long is the third side? So an equilateral triangle has two sides of 4 centimeters. How long is that third side? Think back to your maths lessons when you've learnt this. Try and retrieve that information. It's in that long-term memory. What is the value of A if 3A plus 12 is 39? So what's the value of A if 3A plus 12 equals 39? So you might need to pause. Just have a little work through. Don't pause too long. You try and work it out. Number four, the perimeter of a square is 4 centimeters. So what is the length of each side? The perimeter of a square is 4 centimeters. What is the length of each side? And number five, I'm thinking of a number. I divide it by 4 and subtract 2, and my answer is 2. What number was I thinking of? So I've got a number. I divide it by 4. I subtract 2, and my answer is 2. What number was I thinking of? A mental maths for you there. You know, you built that schema, which is that sort of mental model of what maths looks like and how you work these things out. Try and access that as quickly as you can. Number 6. What is 4 cubed? What is 4 cubed? Number 7. What number is shown by these Roman numerals? So XXXVI shows what number in Roman numerals? Number 8. What number is 4 more than the 9th triangular number? Told you these are going to get challenging. What number is 4 more than the 9th triangular number? Number 9. What is a quarter as a percentage? So what is a quarter as a percentage? And number 10, fantastic question, Mrs. Cross. What do all of the answers, so 1 to 9, all of those answers, what do they have in common? So look at them, they have one commonality. What is it? Great round. So let's do those answers. 144 months. Number 2 is, the answer is 4. Number 3, the answer is 9. Number 4, the answer is 1. Number 5 is 16. Number 6 is 64. Number 7 is 36. Number 8 is 49. 9 is 25, so 25%. And all of those are square numbers. What a fantastic question to end off with. Thank you, Mrs. Cross. Brilliant stuff. Defo 10s there, I think. Well done, guys. So, let us move on. And we're going to move on to sport. I'm going to sport around this. So, think about all those questions you've been asked in PE. So, not just about who plays for who, but more about the actual mechanics around sports. So question 1, what's the largest muscle in the body? The largest muscle. Number 2, do tendons attach bone to bone, muscle to bone, or organ to bone? What do tendons attach? Number 3. Football, netball, or rugby. I should say rugby, not Ruby. Oh my word. Anyone who's been in my lessons recognises my inability to either type or my inability to just to type, essentially. So football, netball, rugby, and hockey are all classed as what? Are they an invasion sport? Are they a clan sport? Or are they an army sport? What would you class those 4 sports as? Number 4, where are the next Olympics to be hosted? So whereabouts are the next Olympics to be hosted? Now we need the city, not the country, because they are always hosted in a city. And number 5, how many players are there on a standard indoor volleyball team? So in a standard indoor volleyball team, how many players are there? Right. 6, in which sport do teams compete to win the Stanley Cup? So in which sport do teams compete to win the Stanley Cup? Number 7, what colours are the 5 Olympic rings? I can tell you they stand for the continents. They put together, they amalgamated, which put together the Americas to be one colour, which I don't really understand. But what colours are the 5 Olympic rings? In which sport would you use a T? Not drink tea. Which sport would you use a T? Number 9, what can a centre in netball? Long week. Where can a centre in netball not go? So where on the court can they not go? Number 10, what is the national sport in Japan? The national sport in Japan. Have a think, have a chat, have a discussion, and we'll look through some answers. Answer time. The gluteus maximus is the largest muscle in the body. If you don't know what that is, look it up. Tendons do muscle to bone. Ligaments do bone to bone. Those sports were invasion sports, the idea of team sport invading another area to be successful. Tokyo in Japan is where the next Olympics are to be held. That's next year. They were supposed to be this year, but now they're not. 6 players on a standard volleyball team. They compete for the Stanley Cup in ice hockey. If you've never seen an ice hockey match, you need to watch one. They're beyond what you think sport can be like. They are fantastic. They are brutal. They're brilliant. And this is a Vancouver Canucks cap, and they are the ice hockey team in Vancouver. They're fantastic. Brilliant to watch. The Olympic rings are blue, yellow, black, green, and red. Golf is where you use a tee. And the centre in netball can't go in either goal circle. They can go in between. They're almost like a conduit, that link. And sumo is the national sport of Japan. Right. 10 out of 10. Well done, guys. I'm just assuming you all get 10. So, and remember, tell us what you get. Email through to your head of year so we can know what you can get. We can celebrate that in our assemblies and celebrate that in our newsletter, okay? So, moving on. The picture round, as it says there. Note down who or what these images are depicting, so showing. Pause the video to get a better look, and we'll do the answers. So, there's your first 5. And here are your second 5. Remember, pause the video, or just drag back and pause it. There's your first 5 again. And your second, I love a picture round because I don't have to talk that much then. Right, let's do some answers. Fabulous. Right, it was Barbie. It was Harry Styles. He's in 1D. Love 1D. It's Tom Hanks, best actor ever. Brilliant Tom Hanks. Every film. Cristiano Ronaldo. He's a footballer. He plays for Juventus. That's Leonardo DiCaprio, another actor. There's Johnny Depp, another actor. There's Julia Roberts, a very famous actress. Audrey Hepburn, she was a very famous actress. Really good, beautiful films. Adele, who's a very famous singer. And I don't know who this is. Selena Gomez. I don't know who that is, I'm afraid. Sorry, I'm not up with popular culture. Well done, everybody. Brilliant stuff. Another great quiz. Thank you to Mrs. Cross. Thank you to Mr. Reynolds. Let us know your score. Email it through to your head here and they'll forward it on to me. And then if you have any rounds yourself, you can either send in your 10 questions with the answers or record yourself doing those 10 questions and we'll input it into our quiz. Everyone take care, online and wherever else, and we'll see you really soon.